WIBX News Time is 8:03. Your news brought to you by SIG Alert. If you're trapped in traffic again, you could have avoided it with SIG Alert. Before you go, visit sigalert.com. If you're on the go, download the SIG Alert app, available for your iPhone. A Virginia man under arrest for alleged inappropriate contact with a child. Police say Richard Gibson allegedly engaged in inappropriate contact with 2 children between 1996 and 2000. Gibson was arrested by Virginia State Police and extradited to New York. Nearly 9,000 New Yorkers are having their licenses suspended for failing to pay state taxes. WIBX's Jim Rondinelli has more.
Governor Cuomo says the crackdown is the result of legislation signed into law last year aimed at encouraging individuals who owe more than $10,000 in back taxes to settle their bills with the tax department. Cuomo says more than 17,000 drivers were initially contacted last summer about the effort. Since then, tax collections have increased by more than $56 million.
State Senator James Seward has been named to the Education and Higher Education Budget Conference Committees. The committees are made up of 5 senators and 5 assemblymen tasked with negotiating budget differences between the 2 houses in order to develop a final spending plan. Authorities investigating a break-in at a camp on Yorkland Road. Photos of the stolen items are on our website. The break-in took place sometime between January 22nd and March 1st. Anyone with information is asked to call the sheriff's office. And the Dream Act coming to an end in New York. The state Senate called a surprise vote yesterday on the bill that would have allowed the children of illegal immigrants to receive state financial aid in order to attend a college in the state. The measure went down to a narrow defeat by a 30-29 vote. Your weather brought to you by Utica on Tap at the Stanley on Saturday, March 22nd, presented by Pizza Boys in New York Mills. Get your tickets now. Advance tickets are just $30, $40 at the door. Find out more at uticaontap.com.
Still cold for this time of year this morning, but temperatures up just a little bit. Our area is down below zero in the Adirondack State Park. Go through this morning with these frigid numbers trying to come back, but only a little bit. Still below normal with sunshine this afternoon, 39. Not quite as frigid tonight, 22. And some rain showers by tomorrow afternoon. Gusty winds and a high of 41. Rain will eventually mix on over with some snow later tomorrow night. Chance of rain and snow on Thursday with highs in the upper 30s. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic on WIBX 950.
An average of 14 degrees throughout our listening area. WIBX News Time, 8:05. Your next news and weather in 15 minutes, and always online on Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, WIBX950.com.
In sports, the Knicks will try to keep their recent success going tomorrow night when they host the Pacers at Madison Square Garden. New York extended its winning streak to 6 games with a 115-94 victory over the Bucks on Saturday. The Knicks are 27-40 overall. Indiana leads the Eastern Conference. The Giants are adding one of the top remaining free agent cornerbacks. The Daily News reports they have signed Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie to a 5-year, $35 million deal. DRC had 39 tackles and 3 interceptions last season with the Denver Broncos. The Yankees will try again today after Monday's Grapefruit League game against the Pirates in Bradenton was canceled due to rain. And the Mets, Giancarlo Stanton hit a 3-run homer, and Reed Johnson also went deep as the Marlins built a big lead and held on for a 10-7 win over the Mets in Jupiter. Sports brought to you by CentralNewYork.com. Find up-to-date, easy-to-navigate local real estate listings at CentralNewYork.com. That's CentralNewYork.com.
All right, it's now official, the breaking news just coming across. Now, this is really breaking news. They haven't found the Malaysian airplane. CNN can continue its coverage. The news is the Russian and Crimean leaders have now signed a treaty to make the territory a part of Russia. No big surprise there.
Following the overwhelming 80% vote on Sunday.
I thought it was like 95, wasn't it? Or was it 80?
I think it was actually 80.
80.
90, actually it was 100 in North Korea.
100% in North Korea that
We
Kim
had 80
Jong-un
in Crimea.
Wild. Okay. And we'll talk more about the interview we just had with Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney. What does it mean? You want to pipe in? 7360186. We can talk about that. 807. It is First News Keeler in the morning at WIBX back in 2. All right, let's get right into this. It was a year ago that our man Andrew Dominio began repairing his lungs.
Yes, indeed.
By quitting smoking.
And I must say that due to the Heart Radiothon's My Life, My Wellness, My Life, what is it? My Life, My Fitness Expo?
Yeah. Something like that, Andrew. I'm sure you butchered it, but go ahead.
Thanks to that, I realized that my lung age is 23, which is how old I am. So definitely a drastic improvement. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of wonder where you all wonder where everybody's. I mean, if you don't smoke, but you still that secondhand stuff is. If you worked in a bar when there was smoking, it's amazing. You come home and your clothes smell like smoke, and
now they're talking about third-hand smoke.
Third-hand
smoke is
smelling it off of somebody's jacket.
The residue that exists in a room after the smoker has gone out of the room and extinguished the cigarette.
Fourth-hand smoke damage is actually thinking about it. So don't do it. Just put it right out of your mind.
Just thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. On the line right now is Eileen Gleason, and Eileen is tomorrow is the big day, right? Tomorrow is Kick Butts Day, and Eileen is from Faxon St. Luke's Healthcare's Tri-County Quits Tobacco program, which is hosting the action tomorrow. Good morning. It's no longer a Great American Smokeout, right?
Correct. We do the Great American Smokeout, and that's usually in the November.
Okay. So this is Kick Butts Day.
We do that. Kick Butts Day, it actually started as a day of activism to really target youth. And we continue it to raise awareness and education to those adult smokers.
Yeah.
And the damages it's doing.
What did I hear that Cavallo's is getting rid of their cigar bar?
They are, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What do we know about that? That surprised me. I thought that was doing really well over there.
Well, I think the stigma of smoking, I don't think it's doing as well as they're seeing. There's a different clientele that's reaching out that people have gotten used to now that there isn't smoking in the bars. So it's a different group of clientele. Culture's changing. And they're going forward with that for cleaner, healthier dining and experience.
Okay, in your case, community members are invited to take a step toward a healthier lifestyle by turning in their tobacco products, and if you hand them in, you get a little something in return.
You do. We're offering a $5 gift card to McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or Subway, and we also have a bunch of other tote bags, water bottles, variety little giveaways.
Yeah.
So we're asking they hand in any tobacco and try to commit for the day.
And where do they hand these in, by the way?
Two places. One, at our offices in the Faxon campus of Faxon St. Luke's Healthcare on the first floor at the Tobacco Cessation office between 9 and 11 tomorrow. Or from 3 to 6, we will be at Center Court in Sangertown Square.
Okay. All right, so it's Kick Butt Day. Kick Butts Day.
Yeah.
Kick the butts. All right, nice job there, Eileen. Thank you so much.
Okay, come join us.
Okay,
Thanks.
all right. I was always lucky enough to never start because unfortunately, when I was a young kid, I started eating, and I have not been able to kick that habit. I've tried, but I can't seem to kick it. I do believe I have an addictive personality where if I had started smoking, I would have.
You said your dad smoked, right?
He did, yeah. And I remember those long trips when the sun would be shining, and you'd have that. It was really springtime, like a day like today, where the sun's shining, it's cold out, so you don't have the windows down, and there's smoke in the car, and it would give me that car sickness / cigarette.
That's why they say it
smell.
often skips a generation, because you remember the stigma of
the
smell, the
yeah.
negative of it.
Yeah.
So,
well, and two, it's weird because now that I've quit smoking, I think if I were to have one, I would be violently ill. I think at this point,
You would be.
yeah.
Mm.
Back to where if I had started,
We started watching this show that was on FX called American Horror Story. Is that what it's called? Or American?
There is one called
What
that.
What is that called? Davey, any ideas? No, maybe?
The Americans?
No. It's about these people that moved into the house. The house is haunted.
Oh yeah, it's American Horror Story.
American Horror Story. It's old, right? That's been around for a long time.
Yeah, they have different seasons, and
Okay.
the cast and the plot changes for each season.
And that syrup that you can put in. I'm up to episode 2 where they put the syrup in the cupcake, and the girl began eating it and then started getting sick. No, this is a pretty scary.
you put
television
syrup in a
series.
cupcake?
Yeah, what's the name of that syrup? The syrup that makes
Oh,
you vomit.
Right.
Epicap
or something like that.
Epicap syrup or something like that. Anyway,
Why would she put it in there? Did she think it was some other kind of
I
syrup?
don't know. It's a TV show, Andrew. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I don't
So
think
you've
they think
moved
these
on to
things
another
out.
series?
I have. Where am I? Yeah, I didn't get into the Games of Thrones. Sorry.
Very
I
disappointed.
might watch some more of it, but my wife is not into it. So she has control of the remote control. That is the problem. All right, what did we learn in our conversation with Assemblywoman Claudia Tenney and that polling information? The McLaughlin, John McLaughlin on what did we learn here?
Did we learn that she's running and didn't
We
say
learned
just
she's
like
running.
Rob
I think,
Astorino?
well, I mean, it was. I mean, you be the judge. I mean, if you listen to the interview, she has told us that it is true that her legislative aide is actually on his own time. He does have a firm, and that he is distributing the petitions. The petition process is being directed by Claudia. That she has to get petitions signed. She has until April 10th. If the petitions don't get signed, then she can't run. And there's some other people she says she has to talk to.
And she says that she's already spoken with the other two candidates on the conservative line and asked them what their path to victory was.
And I asked what was yours, and in terms of money, in order to get into this thing, you're going to have to spend a lot of money. We also learned that on this poll, there was one thing I want to get into the poll in a second, but it's going to take a lot, especially with the fact that 73 polling done right now, and in all fairness, it was a poll commissioned by Richard Hanna's office, but it's a national pollster. This is a big. This is not just some fly-by-night company, not a quick little robo thing that you put on your credit card for $250. This is a real poll that had direct questions. Hanna leading 73% to 17%. So with petitions due in less than a month, and the primary in June in a congressional district, this is a very large congressional district. There's a lot of ground you have to make up to even compete. So I asked, you're going to have to spend some money, and her answer to that is, yeah, this is going to cost a lot of money. So there's a lot of time to make up this primary just around the corner. The other thing I found interesting was the results that were put out in the poll, and McLaughlin confirmed this or clarified it for us, was opinion on Claudia Tenney. And the results here, on what I was able to find on Google, favorable opinion, 36%, unfavorable opinion, 19%, and no opinion or never heard of, 45%. So they broke that down, and the never heard of is only 17%. So I had felt that her name recognition was really, really low, 45% that had never heard of her. But that to clarify that is they either had no opinion or never heard of her, and the percentage that has never heard of her is only 17%. That's a very interesting number right there.
And especially if you add that to the number of people who are dissatisfied with.
And there's the other numbers. I mean, looking at the number, opinion on Richard Hanna, opinion was 72% favorable, unfavorable 20%, and no opinion or never heard of is only 8%. Now, keeping in mind, these were, they polled nearly 500 primary voting Republicans. And I'll tell you where the poll was done. 19% of them in the Syracuse market, 49% of the Utica market, and 32% of them in the Binghamton market. It says here the survey of political attitudes was conducted among 471. That's the number. Likely Republican primary election voters in the congressional district. It happened on March 13th, so last Thursday. Respondents were reached using interactive voice response technology. Strict quality control measures were followed in order for responses to reflect actual voter turnout in a Republican primary election. So they say the accuracy of the sample of 471 likely Republican primary election voters is 4.5%, plus or minus 4.5%, with a 95% confidence in level. So those are a lot. I mean, those are numbers that have to be. There's a lot to make up there.
And Tenney said that she criticized the poll for being a push poll, and McLaughlin
So that was not what that was.
adamantly denied that.
Okay. Well, there you have that. We will have the interview with Claudia and John McLaughlin both up on our website later on this morning. You can check it out in show notes. WIBX950.com. Right now at 8:20. Here's what Christine is working on in the newsroom. Good morning.
Good morning. No one had a motive, at least one that they knew of, in the case of missing Flight 370. The Rolling Stones delaying the start of their Australian tour, and a man on death row lives until at least Thursday, until the state executing him can find the drug used to do so.
One other thing to think about is think about, too, if let's say Claudia were to win the primary, Then the Democrats come into the
Assembly seat.
No, I'm talking about if she were to win the congressional primary, the general, of course, would not be as favorable because it would add the Democrats to the mix. 8:21. We'll come right back here and talk more about it. You want to get into it? 736-0186 is the telephone number, and another chance for somebody to get in on our Mega Millions ticket. I bought a ticket, and I like to share my winnings, which will probably not even be $1, just for the record. So we'll get to that. And Colgate Hockey on the way to NCAA. They've had an amazing year. Coach Don Vaughn coming up in 2 minutes on WIBX. All right, it's 8:24. Colgate University's men's hockey team is heading to Lake Placid this weekend for the ECAC Hockey Championship Tournament. If they win the ECA Championship, they will get a bid into the national tournament, the NCAA tournament. Don Vaughn is head coach for Colgate men's hockey on the line right now. Good morning, Don.
Morning. How are you?
Glad to have you on the radio. You guys are knocking it up over there this year. You've had a great year.
It's been a fun year. A really great group of guys, a lot of character in our locker room, and surprised the experts. We were picked to finish 9th in the league and had a great second half and ended up in second place and knocked off St. Lawrence last weekend. As you said, we're on our way to Lake Placid this weekend, so we're looking forward to that. We're excited and big challenge ahead, but should be fun.
Hey, Don, tell me, at what point did you realize, or did you know all along that this team was real? Because from us on the outside looking in, it's like, hey, Colgate just upset somebody, and wow, they just did it again. And at what point did you know?
We knew we were going to be able to skate pretty well, even from the get-go, right off the start of the season. I think the big thing for us was gaining some confidence right after Christmas. We went out to a tournament in Minnesota. They were the number one team in the country, and we knocked them off the first night, and then had a chance to play the number 2 team in the country the next night in Ferris State, and we shut them out 3-0. I think at that point, our guys realized that we can play with anyone. It gave us a lot of confidence, and we kind of built from there. So, I think we did surprise some teams, but a lot of that was based on some of the preseason stuff, and we had a plan and a process to get there, and our guys just kept working at it. So, again, it's been a fun group to coach and a fun year so far.
Now, tell me if I'm correct here. You guys, Colgate handles things much differently than other universities that build in a lot of recruiting and scholarships and all of that stuff. It's academics is number one at Colgate. Am I right?
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, we have some of the best and brightest student athletes, in the country. It's it's a challenge. Obviously, our standards are a little bit higher than some of our competitors, but those kids are out there, and Colgate offers them an opportunity to get that great education and play at the highest level possible in college hockey. So, we're not only producing great hockey players and some future NHLers, but we're certainly creating and developing some of the future leaders of the country as well. Yeah. It's a great place, a great environment to go to school and play hockey.
In high school, I wrestled. For the record, I wasn't really good, but I wrestled in high school all through my right on through my senior year. And the wrestlers would always get this reputation for being they're brutes. But coaches would always say the best wrestlers are the smart ones, because you have to be smart in order to compete. And the same thing with hockey. You guys get that reputation for being thugs, but in reality, you get it takes a lot of brains out there to make those proper decisions.
Well, it does. I always tell our guys, they're way smarter than I am. I mean, and sometimes I'll catch myself telling them something over and over again, and should realize that they got it the first time. But they do. You have to think on your feet. There's a lot to our game, and we have some great kids that can do all of that.
ECAC has an automatic bid. Is it an automatic bid into the NCAA?
Yeah, the winner this weekend up in Lake Placid, we'll get an automatic bid, and then there'll be there's 6 conferences in Division I, so each conference will get an automatic, and then there'll be 10 teams selected to the NCAA at large.
All right, and where does the NCAA end up playing? How does that work in terms of, so you get through here, where will the next game potentially be? Is it on a home ice situation, or is it set locations? There's 4 regional sites. 16 teams make the tournament, 4 regional sites, 2 in the west, 2 in the east. The eastern regionals are in Worcester, Mass, and in Connecticut, the second regional in the east. So
we're not there yet. We're sitting right on the bubble in terms of an at-large bid, but obviously our goal is to win the ECAC championship this weekend and hopefully stay in the East at one of the regionals. And then obviously, the winners of each regional will advance to the Frozen Four, and this year that Frozen Four is in Philadelphia.
Pretty awesome, and we know you guys can pull this off. You gotta win this thing up in Lake Placid. Nice job,
Well, yeah.
Great season. We'll be following, and I hope to talk to you after this weekend.
That sounds great, Bill. I do too. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Don Vaughn, Colgate University's men's hockey. Colgate's having a really good year in sports.
Yeah.
Certainly an awesome year they've had in hockey. Back in 2 minutes, 8:28. When we come back, I will take caller 5. You can do that right now if you want. Caller 5, 736-0186. I want to share my winnings. Listen, if I win the $450 million, you would receive 25% of that after taxes. Got to put that in there.
Always got to factor that in. Yeah.
Wow, I'd end up with like $30. Hold on tight. We're coming back in 2. Take caller 5 right now, 736-0186. 736-0186. WIBX.
WIBX News Time is 8:31. Your news brought to you by Utica on Tap at the Stanley on Saturday, March 22nd, presented by Pizza Boys in New York Mills. Get your tickets now. Advance tickets are $30, $40 at the door. You can find out more by going to our website at WIBX950.com and click on Utica on Tap. More than 24 nations searching millions of miles over land, sea, and now underwater for the missing Malaysia airliner. Malaysia's acting transport minister says investigators still do believe that the plane's movements were consistent with deliberate action by someone on the plane. There's been no sign of the plane whatsoever since it vanished from radar more than a week ago. The CEO of General Motors says it is cooperating with federal investigators even as the company recalls more and more vehicles. In a video statement released yesterday, GM CEO Mary Barra said the company did not live up to its own standards. Fast food workers in more than 24 cities will be protesting today. They plan to call out eateries' labor organizers who say that they are being illegally depriving their workers of wages. It is part of a continuing effort by labor groups to see fast food employees get $15 an hour and the right to join unions. People in some mid-Atlantic cities still digging out from yesterday's record-setting St. Patrick's Day snowfall. Washington, D.C. saw almost 4 inches of snow fall at Reagan National, making it the snowiest St. Patrick's Day since 1884. Dozens of state attorneys general are leaning on retailers to stop selling tobacco products. 30 letters went out over the weekend to the heads of Walmart, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Safeway, and Kroger. Letters report that tobacco-related disease is the leading cause of preventable death in the U.S. The move comes after CVS agreed not to sell tobacco products effective in October of this year. And the New York Knicks ready to name Phil Jackson as their next president. A press conference is set for 11 o'clock Eastern time today at Madison Square Garden.
Still cold for this time of year this morning, but temperatures up just a little bit. Our area is down below zero in the Adirondack State Park. Go through this morning with these frigid numbers trying to come back, but only a little bit. Still below normal with sunshine this afternoon, 39. Not quite as frigid tonight, 22. And some rain showers by tomorrow afternoon. Gusty winds at a high of 41. Rain will eventually mix on over with some snow later tomorrow night. Chance of rain and snow on Thursday with highs in the upper 30s. From the Weather Channel, I'm Ray Stajic on WIBX 950.
14 in Ilion, 18 in Utica, 16 right here in Marcy. WIBX News Time, 8:33.
And Cynthia in Rome is standing by on the phone line. I'm going to take Cynthia right after we get back here. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1. 6 beautiful numbers that could turn into a lot of money. And they're hers. Coming up in a second. Hold tight as I share my winnings. 8:34 back in 2 after Fox Business News on WIBX. All right, on line number 1 is Cynthia. She's in Rome. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is.
You're just my Bill, no ordinary guy who's ready to share his mega millions.
That is so good.
That was beautiful.
You deserve to win now.
Yes, we've got to.
Yeah, if you don't win, this is a real stinking shame. Cynthia, it's great to hear your voice. Do you have a pen and paper ready to go here?
I'm all set.
All right, now here's how this works. It's after I've purchased my own lottery tickets. And after I win tonight, I'm willing to share my winnings, 25% after taxes with you, if your numbers are the ones that come up here. So are you ready?
Whatever.
Here we go. 37,
37. That's the year of my birth.
Okay, every number should mean something.
Yeah.
1937. Wow. 40.
An old guy.
40 is the
Which
next
is how
one.
old she is.
40.
Yep. 41.
41.
54.
54.
Next is the year of my birth, 64.
64.
And 6 is the Mega Millions number, 6.
Okay.
All right, so you have it now. If those numbers come up and I win, 25% of that.
We'll go to the Bahamas.
I love it.
We'll take all our friends that smile.
That is it. It's going to be a big time. We're going to have a blast. So.
Thanks a lot.
All right,
Bill.
hold tight. Do we have our information and everything? We've got it. Cynthia, good luck. We'll talk about our winnings tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you. And I love Cynthia. Isn't she
I
something?
love Cynthia, too.
1937. Greg McShay in studio now. Good morning, Greg.
Hello, Bill.
How are you?
Hello, Christine. Hello, Andrew.
How are you?
I'm fine.
So-
You mean if I sing to you, I can get a cut of the...
You can get a cut.
If
yeah.
I sing to you?
That's all you have to do. Yeah.
Everybody loves Bill Keeler sometime. Everybody loves that Bill somehow.
And he's doing it with a cocktail in his hand. That is awesome.
Write my name down. I want a cut of the action.
All right, listen, there's a really, really big event coming up this weekend, and it's Utica on Tap, and you are the honorary brewmaster of this thing.
Yes, I am. We're putting it on through Town Square Media, of course, and Utica on Tap is an opportunity for people who are beer aficionados, like craft beers.
Which has become really big.
Yes, to
Yeah.
sample some 90 beers from over 30 craft brewers. It's at the Stanley Theater, 2 sessions, noon to 3, which is almost sold out. And then there's a second session we added just about a week ago or so from 4 until 7. The cost is 30.
So there's 2 sessions.
2 sessions.
I get that now.
Yes, with a brief intermission.
And the first session is what time? Brief information where
For
we
me to lay
actually
down.
have some coffee, eat some bread.
By the way,
Right.
brought to you by Pizza Boys of New York Mills.
Yes.
We thank them for that. And an
And,
after party at Swifties. Okay. So
Killebrew, Lotus Garden, and McGill is also involved in the food over there. Because
Yeah.
you have to have food with that stuff.
Right.
And do you ever do the homebrew stuff? Have you ever made your own beer?
You know, I never did.
Yep.
I was a tour guide at the FX Matt Brewing Company.
I did not
during
know
my
that.
college years.
Wow.
There's an old saying, beer is thicker than water. And I've done some advertising for the brewery years
Yeah.
ago and friends of the Matt family and always had an interest in brewing. And, a funny thing, I was thinking about that this morning. For some strange reason, I've never made beer. And I've always been such a big beer
Yeah.
fan,
Yeah.
Hopefully not a beer snob.
Yeah, that's
No,
right.
not at all.
Right.
But I did make wine once with a friend of mine and I don't even like wine.
Yeah.
I don't know why I did that.
What kind of wine was it?
Bad.
Bad.
Bad wine. It was, we had no patience. I was
Yeah.
about 23 years old. And no patience.
Right.
You're supposed to let it go, I don't know, about
It's-
8 weeks.
That's the problem
4
with wine.
months.
You got to let it go for so long.
But after the first weekend, we're dipping into it,
Yeah.
and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I've never made my own homebrew.
My wife bought me the kit and everything. It comes with a really long spoon, and then I started reading the instructions about you have to keep everything sterilized and everything. I'm like, man, this is just too much for me.
It's a science
so
project.
You go to the
Yeah.
refrigerator and you pull out one. It's very
Imagine
easy.
that some kid at high school. Well, my science project is making beer.
Yeah. Well, that's a good project.
He
I
does
guess.
sample homebrews, though. I can attest to that, Mr. McShay. He
Yeah,
does sample
yes.
homebrews.
That's really a big deal. So, very important.
Yes.
Very important.
Yes.
That you get these tickets now because
Right.
they're $30 now
Right.
versus $40 at the door.
$30 in advance,
Mm-hmm.
$40 at the door, and you can get them online at uticoontap.com or any of our radio stations' websites. We'll link it right up there. You save $10, $10 for designated drivers. As I say, the first session almost sold out noon to 3. Second session is 4 to 7, and we have a lot of room there, so that
Nice.
probably work
All
out
right.
better
That 4
for
to
us.
7 is the. I hate to say it, but it's almost a better time, isn't it? I like that 4 to 7. That's
Oh, I don't
the
know. I
evening
used to
hours,
tailgate
so.
at 9:30 in the morning
That's a good point.
when I went to
That's a
see
very good
Buffalo
point.
Bills game. But anyway.
Somewhere it's noon, right? Is that the? Okay, some of the beers. You have any favorites that you have in mind? I don't want you to call out somebody that, but I like some
Well,
of these thick
yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
Nagler brought in a from
Oatmeal
McCray-
stout.
The brown.
Breakfast
oatmeal stout, the breakfast stout, thick. Such a thick, hearty. It was like drinking it was like eating a meal.
Metafast shake.
It was like Metafast. Yeah,
Well,
much
yes.
better tasting.
My friends at FX Matt Brewery, Saranac will be along with their Legacy IPA, which is
nice.
quite a phenom that they've introduced about a year ago or
Yep.
so. Also, their Pale Ale, and you're going to have Yingling will be along with some beers. Ithaca Brewing. they make some great beers. And also Harpoon Brewing, Lagunitas from California, and a number of other Dogfish. Also Bell's Brewing Company, which has become quite a popular craft brewer. Brooklyn Brewing. And
much of what is made in Utica.
Yes,
for that,
exactly.
Don't you love the pride? I mean, you said you'd done stuff for the brewery years ago, and then we went through that stretch where people just made fun of Matt's brewery or Matt's beer, and people just downed it, they dissed it. But then out of nowhere, they recovered to the point where this is now considered one of the best places anywhere to get beer.
Well, actually, FX Matt Brewing Company was really at the early stages of craft brewing. And I'll tell you how it all started if I can recollect it correctly. Back in about 1983 or so, they had brewed up a special batch of beer, and they were going to call it Freeport because it had more of the German purity aspects to it, just water, malt, and yeast and hops. No cereal grains or anything else. And so it was going to be like an import beer, but they were going to sell it here locally. They didn't know what to call it. And then they decided, well, hey, we will sell this at holiday time. And we'll call it the FX Matt Brewery Holiday Beer. So that was the first year. They had some situations with another brewery, had to change the name to Season's Best. So along comes Season's Best. And in the meantime, the FX Matt Brewing Company was craft brewing for New Amsterdam, for Sam Adams, for the Brooklyn Brewery, for Harpoon, and all of a sudden, all these beers that I had no idea that beer tasted like this. I mean, I was just used to the yellow beers, Utica Club, and that kind of thing. Matt's Premium when I was around. And all of a sudden, on comes this onslaught of beers with totally different tastes. And so it's just grown and grown and grown, craft beer. And, people sip and savor. They don't drink and drown when they're into craft beers. I mean, because, and I don't want to tell you, I'm a beer snob.
Pairing it with food, too. That's another thing you see a lot. You wouldn't think of that before, but now all of a sudden it's become the beer snob. There's got to be a nice way of putting that, because really that's kind of what it is.
I don't drink my Utica Club in a stemmed glass.
That's right. Listen, you should. Whenever I go to the I love Utica Club, whenever I have the chance over the yacht or whatever, you go with UC. But it's that Saranac that is killing it. That's really doing it.
Absolutely. That really brought the brewery back to larger sales than ever. I mean, because they're out throughout the Northeast, a number of states. I can't speak for the brewery. I don't work for the brewery, but I know they've expanded their marketing. They've expanded their. You know what? I want to tell you something about Utica on Tap, an aspect of it that might be appealing to people who are into craft beers. These craft beers generally aren't cheap. I mean, I see some of these beers in some of these stores. $11.99 a six-pack. My gosh, I get a case of Utica Club for just about that.
I hide it from my wife often.
But I know. But anyway, the thing is, so at Utica on Tap, you're going to get a 3-ounce glass. Keep the glass as a souvenir. You can go from different booths to different breweries to different distributors, sample small portions of the different types. Now, let's say you thought, well, gee, I see that beer on the shelf, and it's $9.99 a six-pack. You buy it, and you hate it. Now you got 5 bottles left you don't want. You blew $12. Well, here you go to Utica on Tap. You sample little glass, little snifters of each different style. You say, I like that one. I'd be willing to pay $10 for a six-pack. I like that one. I don't like that one. I'm not going to buy it.
You should keep whether it's your little notepad or a little smartphone, whatever you have to do, and just take little notes of the things that you want to go out there and pick up afterwards. So.
Before I forget, off the topic here, I must publicly thank Christine Bellino for finding my SUNY Fredonia traveling commuter coffee mug. I lost it twice in the past 6 months.
Does it have beer in it?
Well,
we can't talk about
Maybe
that.
That's
just
why
a few things in there.
Happy that it was found.
I've got a long day ahead of me.
I'm smiling. That's right. You got.
But she found it twice, and I appreciate that. And I did want to give her $1 finder's fee, but she would not accept it.
Can't believe that. That's almost a soda in the vending machine, to be honest.
That's true, but it's Pepsi.
Greg McShay, one of my favorite radio personalities in the history of the world, and we've talked about that. Love it when you come on, and love the fact that you're on the radio. You're over on Oldies. Right where you should be. Perfect. The music, it's a good fit for you. I love it.
I'm an oldie.
I don't say that. I'm not saying
well, the thing is,
we're all heading there.
On 96.10 DZ, and I've been there a few months now, and I really enjoy it. The songs that I'm playing now, as older songs, classic rock songs, whatever,
Yeah.
are songs I played when they were new. So I have an affinity for it. I have a feeling for it, and a lot of
You do
memories.
realize, though, that I would sit in my Delta 88, 1970 Delta 88, sitting outside Jarvis High School. It was Mohawk Grove Street High School at the time, sitting out there waiting to go in. I wasn't listening for the songs. Couldn't wait for the songs to end so that Greg would do another bit. That's what I waited for. So,
Oh my
I
gosh!
I would tape.
Well,
and
wait a minute.
cut out the music,
I'm going to
so.
give Christine's dollar to you.
That's good.
Because those were
and
just wonderful.
Unlike her, I'll take it. So, all right. Greg McShay, it's awesome. 90 beers,
Thank you.
more than 90 beers on tap.
It's this Saturday.
This Saturday, the honorary brewmaster. You should be the brewmaster because you know enough about this stuff. Noon to 3, still some availability, and 4 to 7. There's room, $30 in advance, $40 at the door. Tickets you can get right online at our website at WIBX950.com. Bill in New Hartford, Martin wants to talk about the brewery a little bit. Hold tight. We'll come back and get both of you guys in 2 minutes in WIBX. It's 8:52 on WIBX here. I may do one more shot at giving my winnings away. Listen, I feel that if I win $400 million, I can give up 25%. Basically, I'll be giving up 75% because the government, and then I'll have to share with you guys and maybe a percentage each for you guys, 1 percentage point. I can do a little better than that. Bill in New Hartford is on right now. William, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. I was just wondering about Pat Bailey. What does he do for the New York Post, and did he have to move to New York City?
My belief is, based on our conversation with him the other day, he did not have to move to New York City. Of course, Pat Bailey used to work at WKTV.
Yes.
He's going to be the Albany correspondent to the Albany Correspondent. Is it Fred Dickers is the guy from the New York Post, and I believe he feeds information to him. So, and I believe he's going to live in Albany, remain living in Albany where he is now. So,
thanks a lot.
All right, Bill. Thanks, Martin. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning.
What's going on, man?
I was looking at the a magazine here. It's called the Beverage Industry. It's a magazine about it's something that goes to people that deal with bottles and all that.
Yeah.
So I've had a subscription for it for probably a couple of years now, and I was looking at it the other day and looked at the front cover of it. It's got a picture there of FX Matt Brewing Company celebrating 125 years in business.
Wow, how does that make you feel when you see that? Don't you have there's a pride here that we have. When you go to Boston and you see a Saranac, when you see something like that in a magazine, you have this pride, right?
Yeah, sure. It's
pretty cool.
Something that's pretty nice. It's definitely a plus for area and everything like that. It's got a good article, too.
Awesome. Well, remember, noon and 4 o'clock, 2 sessions on Saturday over at the Stanley Theater. You should take advantage of that.
I also have another question I'll post to you. It's about an article that went into the Syracuse paper. It was about the pensions of the police officers and all that. They said that they're...
Syracuse police officers or Utica?
Syracuse.
Okay.
This was in the Syracuse paper. I guess it was on Sunday.
Yep.
They had a big article on it and how they're getting their pensions up to like they're stroking their fund there the last 3 years of their employment by going up to like $150,000. $175,000, and their regular pay is like $50,000.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is the legacy costs, pension, and all that stuff. Feel bad for our kids because they're never going to experience any of that. They're going to have to do their 401ks, and that's about it. All right, Martin, thanks. I appreciate it. Listen, I do have to talk about New York Sash brand windows, the windows that are what keep the cold that you feel out there today. Oh, it's going to warm up a little bit. Allow you to open up the windows so you can let the air in. Awesome. That's New York Sash, but they're also known for their bathrooms. New York Sash, you can have a brand new bathroom in 2 days. Their acrylic bath liners and wall systems fit exactly over your existing tub. Maybe you want something that's handicap accessible, elderly accessible, something that has safety, wheelchair accessibility. It's all available, and they can do it in just 2 days without messing with your plumbing or any of that. To have a brand new bathroom in 2 days is really unheard of. New York Sash Home Bath Systems on display at their showroom on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro. You can call 624-7344 or see it online at newyorksash.com. We'll wrap it up here in 2 minutes on WIBX.
Good morning. It is 8:59. Still no sight of missing Flight 370. State Senator James Seward named to several more committees and authorities investigating a break-in and need your help.
Listen, this $1 million bracket challenge is up, and you're going to have until Thursday, right,
Yeah.
to get in on this thing. It's free to play. You have a shot at $1 million. You sign up and get contest rules in the VIP Club at WIBX950.com. Other prizes include a $500 American Express gift card, overnight stay at Wingate by Wyndham of Rome, and the list goes on. It's brought to you by Sims Metal Management in Frankfurt, Swifties, Clifford Fuel, and attorney Robert Saucin Jr. And check all that out. Pretty good. That's it for us. Back here tomorrow. Enjoy your day. 42 and sunny today. Enjoy it.
WIBX and WIBX950.com.